Amanda Nunes brought her best, Kenny, despite some of the misinformation that was out there. I told this audience I spent 2.5 hours at the Lioness studio the week before the fight, and she was, I think, misleading me in a lot of respects when it comes to her retirement. She approached this fight as if it would be her last, and she had all the motivation that you would expect, and just a vintage, I thought, Amanda Nunes performance in dominating a pretty lackluster at times Irene Aldana.
No question. I think there's two motivating factors, right? There's the fact that Aldana was a legitimate threat to her. She's got a cracking right hand when she's throwing it. She has a good, educated jab when she's throwing it. She's dangerous on the ground as well. She's going to fight for every single position. She's not going to go away easily, and she's certainly not going to give up. And the fact that you have that backdrop that this was going to be her last fight in her head, she was going to retire after this fight. I mean, there was a lot there. And because of that, we saw, in my opinion, one of the sharpest performances from Amanda Nunes because of it. She was on point from the get-go. Her timing was phenomenal. She was loose the whole time. She kept a pace that was manageable for 25 minutes, and it was a furious pace at that. She was landing hard shots. She was mixing in takedowns. She was landing good ground and pound. She was getting good position. I could go on and on and on, but when you're talking about a retirement fight and how you want to look and how you want to present yourself and how you want, that lasting image for people to kind of look at it and for yourself as well, I thought it was about as perfect as it gets. Just phenomenal stuff from Amanda Nunes, who has been not only one of the most impressive fighters in UFC history, but also one of the sweetest people outside of the cage. So I was super happy for her. That's how you do it, folks. That's how you say goodbye to the sport. And just finished with a bang. So that was super cool.
I've gained a lot of insight into Amanda over the years in these fighter meetings, but never more so than having that extended time with her, obviously, at her new gym the week before the fight. And what I kept coming back to was just her initial motivation to be a world champion when she moved from Bahia, Brazil to the U.S. back in 2011. And she was sort of in a soft way comparing it to motherhood and how motivating that is and how much she loves being a mother. But she couldn't even think about motherhood until she had checked the box, beat Miesha Tate, become a UFC world champion. Just a total obsession for her. And it's interesting to harken back to some of her early career losses against somebody like Alexis Davis, and people ever wondered if she would actually be able to have a great cardiovascular base and a style that could extend over 25 minutes. She's incredible. And I think for you, what you would probably appreciate most, other than the vast skill set, is just she's a master strategist. And I don't know if it was Dean Thomas who said it, but even using her wrestling as a mechanism by which to get a rest in a fight like this, right? Didn't even get credited with getting Aldana down the first two times. They didn't even give her a takedown. She didn't want it. Just, I'm going to dump you down and take a fucking breather and then get back to outstriking you. She's incredible.
Yeah, and it was also about imposing her will and just showing how dominant she was. It looked like a master and student type relationship out there. Now, Aldana, I don't think she had her best performance. Now, a lot of that had to do with what Amanda was doing, though. People forget that. It's like, do you just walk forward and try to throw punches against Amanda Nunes, who is this very dominating force, who's probably going to hit harder than any woman in history in that division? It's risky stuff. And I think she was very afraid of exchanging with someone like Nunes because of that power. I also think the speed factor was there. And also, you have a legend in front of you. That could freeze up any competitor out there. So I wonder what those factors exactly were for Irene Aldana, but she just wasn't as busy as she needed to be. And she happened to face an Amanda Nunes that was extremely motivated and very, very sharp.